match method mix, this stuff, was the first ground bait that Sonubaits ever produced. I remember having all the stuff in my garage. They kept sending me ingredients through, and I'd be mixing them up, and they said, look, Des, we want a ground bait, which is good for the method feeder. And that is the original match method mix. We do a black version now, or dark version, so because a lot of people just love it. And it has to be one of the most iconic ground baits. I know people that actually use this stuff because they love it so much. They even use it for their skimmer fishing. But, you know, it even gets a free feeder. That free feeder, I think it's 15 plus years old. And God knows how many bags that Sonu has sold. A hell of a lot. And it's got to be one of the easiest ground baits ever. So there's 6 pints, 2 kilos of dry ground bait in there. If you put 3 pints in a bucket, you put, I think it's 1 pint of water, mix it up, it's perfect. And I'm going to do that right now just to show you lot exactly what it's all about. So, like I said, let's get the feeder out, get some ground bait in the pot. It doesn't have to be exact, you know, let's get that feeder out. So you get a nice inline flat method. So there's 2 pints. Let's get me 1 pint container. Again, if you don't want to put exactly 1 pint of water in, nice thing is as well, you get two goes with that on your fishing. And then I'm going to put that nearly a pint straight on the top. Look how easy. All the mixes that I've done, it is so easy to mix. You know, when we do a new ground bait, that's what we try and do. It's not always that easy. And that's probably why sometimes I mix different ground baits together, because it just makes it easier to mix. Now that ground bait is completely different to what I've mixed up over the last few films. Straight away, it's in between, I would say, 50-50 and Pro Thatchers. And everybody, you know, a few people say, is it that different? I'm like, yeah, it is. This is a pellet paste, you know, fish meal ground bait. And straight away, that's what it mixes like. So it doesn't go like a soup or anything like that. 3 pints of ground bait, just under a pint of water, around about a pint. You cannot go wrong. It's a lovely colour. And you can tell that when I had 50-50, when I've mixed 50-50 up on its own, 50-50 is like quite a gritty ground bait. It's real high fish meal content, where this is a real pellet-based ground bait. And you can feel it in your hands. And again, so easy. You know, when you do your micros up, your Fin Perfect micros or your Pro Feed micros, you can mix this in with this ground bait and it just makes the perfect, you know, I have caught so many carp on a method feeder with this stuff. You know, when you're in the summer, it's one of them ground bait, it's a base mix for me when I go carp fishing. If I get to a venue and it's fishing tough, I'll mix this on its own. I can always add some of the Mega Carp method mix in it. If I don't want a full-blown big particle ground bait mix for carp, I can mix this 50-50 with the Mega Carp method mix, one of the new ones. So I've got some added particles in it. So let's put that through a riddle, because that's how easy it is. It doesn't take that much time. So let me put that on the riddle, like that. Save making a mess. And you can do, look how quick this is. I don't even have to wait for it. Push that through. So when I go to sheer water, anywhere I'm carp fishing, summer or winter, you cannot beat this ground bait. And if you go to summer and you're not too sure as well, if you get a bit confused and you're going, oh, I don't know really what to use, get the match method mix out. And that now, look at that. You can see how that binds around a method. You can stick some micros in there if you want. One thing that I do a lot of is add the bait booster in, because if you just want it a little bit more sort of bindier, get a bit of that in. You don't need to put loads. Like that. So I got my favourite smell, which is banoffee. I just fell in love with that smell a few years ago from fishing some natural venues and that, really. And the amazing thing about Bait Booster, it doesn't really affect the mix. It's weird. If you put that much water back in there, it would completely change it. But because Bait Booster is like a gluten, it gives you loads of smell. It doesn't affect the mix. But you can feel it in there now. It's a bit stickier. And you just get that added. It sort of dampens the mix off, but doesn't make it different. It's a bit strange. But you can tell now, 2 squeezes of that, look, I can put that around a method. And like I said, some people still use it on the pole in the winter, the dark version. What a great ground bait that is. Match method mix has to be one of the most versatile ground baits ever made.